What about alcohol? What if you have a beer can outside and you walk on it on the floor and the alcohol comes on your clothes or your shoes and you start praying salah? Is your salah going to be valid or not? It's very common, as we said, in this country. Many people just drink beer and throw it on the roads or streets, and you walk over it unknowingly, and then you notice there's some drops on your clothing, and then you come to masjid. Now it's time for salah. Then you have to make a decision: should I go downstairs, wash it, or can I just start my salah? So what did scholars say about it? There are basically two opinions, and the majority of the scholars, they said that it is najas. Najas meaning something which is impure, something which is filthy, something which must be clean. Okay, and they basically mentioned the verse from Holy Quran in Surah Al-Ma'idah, as I have it here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, O you who believe, intoxicants and gambling and al-ansab and al-azlam are rijz. Rijz means something which is filthy, okay? So those things are impure, so you have to stay away from it. Allah is saying, stay away from it. Stay away from it. So since this is rijz is also a kind of filth, that's why scholars said it's haram. So you have to wash the clothing. You have to wash anything that falls on your clothes. And there are other scholars also who mentioned that it is not najas. Basically what they are saying, this is not a sufficient of an evidence. They said that it's basically referring to spiritual impurity. And for example, gambling is also mentioned in this verse, right? So if I go and touch a gambling machine, a lotto machine, what happens? Is it filthy? Do I have to go and wash it with soap and everything? No. So what exactly is the verse referring to here? Basically, scholars are saying it refers to spiritual impurity. It has some, there's something wrong with it. It's bad. So that's why alcohol, obviously, we know all these sins that it comes with, all the damage that it does to the society. There is an impurity in it, the spiritual impurity. It just cuts your souls down. So that's why they said it is not najas. But anyways, it's always, whenever I mention this rule to you, whenever there are two opinions, we should always go towards the safer opinion, which is try to be away from it. Okay? And obviously we hate alcohol, but again, sometimes it does happen. I travel in train and I see beer can lying on the ground and I have to sit there and I see alcohol there. So it's disgusting, but at the same time, I have to make decisions. I have to pray sometimes, and I don't have access to a lot of water. So what do I do? So things like that. So if it's easy for you, you should go and wash your clothes with that. The perfume that we use, that also has alcohol. They say, can we use that or not? So here we have to do some, research. Actually, it's not even a research. The perfume that comes in the market, it is not alcohol in the sense, it's not khamr, okay? The alcohol that is haram for us is what? The ethyl alcohol. That's the one that is haram. The khamr, which is haram, is anything that intoxicates you, okay? That's khamr, by definition, is something that intoxicates you. The one that is there in perfumes, it's either isopropyl alcohol or denatured alcohol. So if you drink it, do you get intoxicated by those alcohols? No, you don't get intoxicated. Those are, actually you die because of it before you get intoxicated even. So it's a different category, okay? So if you have poison and you put on it, consuming poison is haram, right? But putting on your hand it's okay, not a problem, okay? Same thing with methanol or anything that doesn't intoxicate you. Maybe large quantities does, but the one that comes in the market, it does not intoxicate you. Beer, of course, beer intoxicates you. And if you put on yourself, it is najas, according to those scholars. But these things that we buy, shampoo and perfumes, it's not that alcohol. The reason why I say is that because the actual khamar, actual alcohol that is haram, that is expensive. People don't use that for the products. Otherwise, products rate will go high. So they use like denatured alcohol or something that is cheaper. Because government actually puts a lot of taxes on ethyl alcohol or the beer or those kind of things. So manufacturers don't put the real alcohol in them. So it is okay, it's not a problem.
What is
like pigeons, birds, or anything like this happens when we are, for example, outside praying, read salah, right? And you're praying and something falls on your head or on your clothes, like a pigeon excretion or something. Now what do you need to do? Do you, like, if you're in your salah, do you break your salah and then clean it and make wudu and then come back? Or you just continue your salah? Is it najas or not? Is it filthy or not? So what did scholars say about it? So the scholars mention that you have to find out what kind of animal that is. Okay? Haram animals, halal animals. If you remember the fiqh of food we covered, we talked about what is halal, what is haram. Anything that we can eat is obviously halal animal, right? And haram animals. So they said if halal animals excretion or feces, it falls on you, then it is not filthy. Of course, we have to clean it. It's off-putting. We don't like people seeing, those feces on our clothes. We want to remove it, but it is not filthy. You don't have, your salah is going to be valid, basically. Okay. But haram animals, which we cannot eat, that falls on your clothes, you have to remove it. Okay. And if you have clothing on it, with those animals' feces, then you have to remove. Like, for example, who can give me an example of haram animal, haram bird? A bird which is haram to eat. Sorry? Crow? Shrek, hoopoe, eagle, vulture, because it has anything which has those claws, right? The flies, we mentioned that rule basically. So, and it kills with those. But if you see the pigeon here, pigeon is halal or haram animal? Can we eat pigeons? It's halal, so it's not a problem at all. Okay. So same thing. It's just not the birds. It's the same case for all animals itself. So sheep. All right, the sheep. Sheep is halal, and so its urine, right? It's not najas. And the hadith that Rasulullah ﷺ mentioned in hadith in Muslim, Sahih Muslim. So someone asked him, can we pray in the sheep pens? Where the sheep they stay. Can we go and pray there? So Rasulullah ﷺ, he said that yes, pray in them, for they are a blessing. They are a blessing. So obviously in that place, obviously what will you find in the pens? It is going to be a lot of excretion of sheep, right? So it is okay. The same thing applies for cow, camel, anything that we can eat, that's okay. But anything that's haram, like pigs, dogs, I don't know if you have pet tigers, whatever, it's all haram. Okay. Okay. What about dead animals? For example, you have a bucket of water and you want to make wudu with it. And then you see an ant or a fly or a bee or a cockroach. What do you do now? Do you have to flow the whole thing out? Or what do you do? Animals, what kind of animals we're talking about? But the general rule here is that if the animal doesn't have blood, then it doesn't make those things impure. Okay? There might be medical consequences, of course, you want to throw it away, but just for the sake of ruling, just for the sake of salah, right? If you make wudu, it's going to be valid. Okay. If you're just washing something, if you there's a urine on the clothes and you wash it and you see flies and bees in the water, it's still okay. You can just take the water and wash it because water is not najas. Okay. But if an animal which has blood, for example, like what? Rat, it has blood, right? It falls into water, that's it, it's gone. It's whether it's blood or whether that's the animal itself, You cannot use it anymore. You have to throw the whole water away. But we said last time that sometimes water drips from somewhere, like a building or something, right? And it drips on you and it fell on you. Now you don't know whether that was good water or bad water. There's a filthy water or impure water. What do you do? So the scholars mentioned that if you are not 100% sure, then you assume that it is good water. Unless you have a proof, if someone comes and says this is filthy water, now go and wash it, then you wash it. The default ruling is that we assume it's good water. Unless it's like smells horribly bad and you know there is something wrong with it, then then we consider it to be good water. All right. So what about the leftover waters? It's for cattle. It's okay. Like a cow comes in and drinks from the bucket, you can make wudu with that water, with that bucket. Okay, it's not a problem. And cats and other animals. Cat is a special exception. Generally, animals which are haram to eat, like pig, dog, and all those things, if they drink from the water, then you have to throw that water away. It becomes najas. Okay. Now let's talk about cats. Cats is an exception. Can we eat cats? No, we can't eat cats. Why? What was the ruling that we gave? It has what? Fangs, right? It kills with those fangs, those pointed tooth that it has in the front. Any animal that has those, you cannot eat it. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told about the cats that they are among those who go around among you. So basically meaning that if cat drinks from your water, it doesn't make it filthy. So there's an exception for cat because we have a hadith. And same thing applies for the hair of the cat. So now this happens usually because some people might have pet cats, right? And they come and they hug or pat the cat and they hold it, and maybe there's like hair on their clothes, and they come and they to the masjid and they pray salah. Is it okay? Yeah, it is okay because we have this hadith. There's an exception made for cat. But if it's another animal, somebody has a pet tiger or something, then it's filthy. You have to get rid of it. Okay? Because this is a problem because it's a haram animal. But pig in general, because it is haram to eat, if it drinks from the water, it is haram. And dog's saliva is also najas. If it falls on your clothes, you have to remove it. I have a whole section about dogs. For people who love dogs, it's not a good session for you today because I'm going to talk about dogs. Animal's skin. Now this is very important topic for today. Now the reason why I say important because it's very common. We go and buy belts, buy leather jackets. It's made of skin. So
a lot of them are pigs.
yeah. So what do we do? Like how do we determine what kind of leather, what kind of skin is haram, what kind of leather is not haram? So what about a goat's leather or a cow's leather? Do we have to consider whether it was slaughtered Islamically or not, or can we just see and say, okay, it's cow and it is halal for us? So what is the ruling about it? So we know for a fact that we cannot go and eat any beef or anything from the market, right? Because it has to be slaughtered according to Islamic rulings. Well, that was for eating. What about wearing? So majority of the scholars, the strongest opinion is that if that animal itself is permissible for us to eat, it is okay to wear the skin, the leather of that animal. We don't have to find out whether it was slaughtered Islamically or not, because this is for wearing. We're not eating it. For eating, yeah, we have to find out whether it was slaughtered Islamically or not. But in this case, you don't have to. But if it's a haram animal, if somebody says, brother, this is pig's skin, so you say, okay, I don't wear pig leather. But he says, I said Bismillah Allahu Akbar while slaughtering it, so it's halal. What do you say? No, it's not. No matter if it's slaughtered Islamically or not, you cannot wear, you cannot use that skin because it is a haram animal. We don't ask the slaughtering question for these animals. So Tanned and untanned skin. So basically what this one is that tanned skin is basically a skin that is dried. You take a skin and you process it, you clean it and then dry it in the open air, so that becomes tanned. It's called tanning process. So tanned skin is what is halal all the time for halal animals. An untanned skin, well, nobody uses untanned skin. But just in case, if a goat's or a cow's leather falls on your clothes, can you pray with that skin on top of you? The scholar said that the leather is valid, but the skin itself, the untanned skin, that one, if it was slaughtered Islamically, then we ask question. If it's slaughtered Islamically, yeah, that untanned skin is halal, otherwise it's not. But in general, we go and buy these leather stuff. What else do we buy from stores that is made of skin? Shoes, yeah. Shoes, and in winter we buy those gloves, right? And the wallet. So we have to be careful about this in this country. We go to the store and we ask them what kind of leather this is made of. You have to ask them. And sometimes they have the label, sometimes they don't, but the shopkeeper might know. And if they don't know, I suggest that you don't go for it, because, problem is most of them are pig skin, made of pig skin. Why? Because it is very, very cheap. Pig skin is very cheap. The Chinese people, the leather there, they have a lot of pigs there, and it's the profit margin is the highest when it comes to pig skin. So they would like to make it, and it's also very light, and it's very thin and strong. So that's why you find most of the material there. And the easy way to recognize pig skin is that it would have like some kind of spots or spikes on it. You see those small grains in there. It's easy to find that out. And on one particular side, little holes kind of thing. And cow's hide is a little different. So if you Google it, you will find the differences of different leather. But it's always better you go online and you type, I want cowhide leather. There are so many belts and purses and wallets. You can buy those, inshallah. The problem is you keep the wallet and belt and then you pray, right? That's a problem. So you have to know what kind of leather it is. What else haram animals skin they make for these leather objects? Snake and crocodile. Crocodile, can we eat crocodiles? No, we can't, because it has fangs, right? So you have to be careful. Now, what are the halal animals the leather that we can use? Cow, goat, and sheep. Yeah. Camel. What kind of skin is this one that I have here? This is deer, I think. Is deer halal? Yes. It's halal. So this is okay. Anyways. So we know what is halal and what is haram. Now, you know that it is najas, something is najas. You have to stay away from it. But it got onto your clothes. But how do you remove that najas? How do you remove that impurity? Can I just do like this and it's gone? Or what is minimum? What is recommended? So the basic rule, whenever you have najas on you, what you do is you have to wash it until the impurity is gone, until you no longer see it. If it can go away, that's what we have to do. And we're going to talk about some scenarios. Now, one question that people often ask is, what about the water that comes from sewage recycle? Like what they take the sewage water, run through chemical plants, and pure water comes out of it. Okay, is that it might come even from our tap water, so in some places. So is it okay or not? Is sewage water itself, is it najas? Yes, of course it is. It comes from the bathrooms, right, and it gets collected. So it is najas. So they run through chemicals and everything. So the scholars said, the Council of Senior Scholars, they said that this becomes tahur, this becomes general water. If all impurities are removed, no matter from what means, it becomes tahur. You can make wudu with it, no problem. But we said that male infant's urine is not najas, right? Because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that. But it's something that you have to remove. Something you have to remove. And also the runny rose, if it falls, and sperm or halal animal excretion, It's something you have to take it away, because these things are not najas, but it's something off-putting, so you have to remove it. So now another point is, what do we need to clean it with, right? With water, obviously we clean it, but what about if I use a chemical agent? What if I give my clothes to dry cleaning, right? If I have urine on my shirt and I tell them dry clean this, they're not going to wash it with water, they're going to dry clean it. They might use steam or something and clean all impurities. Can I do that, or is it compulsory to wash with water? So the scholars like Ibn Uthaymin rahmatullah, he said that as long as impurities can be removed and it can be confirmed, it is okay. The najasa can be removed. No matter what agent you use, whether it's chemical or vinegar or anything that is known to remove, then it is okay. But when it comes to making wudu, the rules are very strict. Okay? So you can't, can you make wudu with vinegar? No, you can't make, because it is not tahur, it is tahir. It is pure, but it doesn't purify you. So it can be used to clean impurities, but it cannot make you reach the level of spiritual purification, right? The state of purity. Okay, sometimes what happens, like we said, like a lot of blood, if it comes out of your body, it gets on your clothes, and we said a lot of blood is najas. Now we clean it, we wash it 3 times, 4 times, and you still see the stains of blood. Can we wear that shirt and pray salah? So the scholars said that if the najas, if the impurity itself went away, but if there are just stains, then it is okay. Okay, because you did your due diligence to clean it, and now the stains will not go unless you use some chemicals or something. So that is okay, it's not a problem. Okay, now if something impure falls on my clothes, do I need to wash the entire cloth or just the part where it fell, the impurity fell? So the answer is, you just have to wash only that particular area. You don't have to wash the whole cloth. And do you have to remove it, or can you just wear it and wash it? You don't have to remove it, it's okay. Okay. So, and sometimes you step on something and you don't know if it's filthy or not. Okay? What do? So the general rule here is that you have to ask yourself, are you 100% sure that this is a filthy thing? If you're not 100% sure, then we assume that it is good. Okay? That's the general ruling in everything. The usul al-fiqh principle that scholars use here is that certainty overcomes doubt. Okay? If you're certain, then you know this is what it is, and if you have doubt, you don't take it into consideration unless somebody tells you certainly this is filthy. Okay? Now you're certain, so you take the doubts do not make the rulings go the other way.
But
yes.
Like I have a lot of rain and a parking lot have some puddles coming and splash some water from a road. What do you think is gonna be
the muddy water and all those things, those are not najas. They are off-putting. Of course, you want to clean it, but if you want to pray salah with it, it is okay. It's not a problem. Unless you know that maybe there was a dog's poo in there and there was water in there, and then that water came on you. That's a problem. Okay. So, but just regular mud or soil, the water that comes from it, that's not a problem at all. And for sisters, what happens is they wear like loose clothing, and sometimes their clothes drags on the ground, right? And they walk, and a lot of dirt gets collected, and they walk so much, probably they don't even know if it got onto the clothes or not. But this happened to one companion, female companion, radiallahu anha. She asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about it, like, I drag my clothes, what should I do? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that what comes after it purifies it. Meaning when you walk, if maybe there was a najas thing and you went over it and it came on your cloth, but when you walk on the ground, as you walk, it cleans itself, right? Because there is mud, there is earth, and we said that earth is a cleaning agent, right? It's a soil, it's a pure thing, and it purifies it. So for sisters, this exception is made that whatever comes after it purifies it. Same thing with the shoes as well. Even if you're wearing shoes and if we stepped on a najas thing, and as we walk the whole day, right, the impurity goes away because soil is a cleaning agent. Carpets and rugs also, this is very common. And what about a cat's urine? Is it najas? Cat's urine is najas because it is haram animal. Okay? The only exception that was made was for what? Its saliva and its hair. Okay? But the urine is najas. So if somebody has a cat in the home and its urine is found on the carpet, what do?
You wash it.
Just spray water, or how do we wash it? You have to pour enough water there, and you have to get that whole urine out. You don't have to like cut the carpet or anything, right? Whatever you can do, you can just some people go that way. You just have to shampoo it, maybe if it's too much, but if you just take regular soap and water and clean it, it should be okay. Any chemical agent for that matter. Male infant, how do we clean the urine of a male infant? So what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? He one time there was this Sahabi, the female companion, she gave her son to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that boy, that infant, he urinated in the lap of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what he did, he called for some water and he just wiped over that urine and he prayed with that. So he did not wash it. Why? Because it is not najas, male infant. So this is how you wash it. But for female's urine, you have to take your shirt out and wash it completely, because that's the exception that was made by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why did he do so? We do not have the reason. Maybe there is a medical explanation, but till now we do not have it. Maybe later on, inshallah, we will know. But we just follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he said, sprinkle the urine of a boy and wash the urine of a girl. What if I do not sprinkle even? Is my salah going to be valid? Yes, it's going to be valid because it is not najas, it's not impure. Okay? For the boys, that is. And what about the utensils? Same thing, clean it as much as you can. One time they were cooking domesticated donkey. They was going in a war and they couldn't find anything to eat, so they slaughtered domesticated donkey and they ate it. Then, as you know, we discussed about the domesticated donkeys. You cannot eat them; it's haram. So when Rasulullah ﷺ saw that, he said to empty it and break the pots. Empty it and break the pots, because it is not allowed to eat, and the vessels, the pots itself, you have to clean them. And so the Sahabi asked, do you have to break it or can we just wash it? He said that, okay, or that, if you want to do that, it's okay. So basically meaning, the point here is that anything that we are not allowed to eat, it becomes impure, so you have to clean the pots or vessels itself. So the pig related impurity. So dog and pig, dog I'm going to talk detailedly about it in the section next to this, but pig is also an animal which is very highly impure. So do we have to wash 7 times for pig? No, we don't have to. It's particular to dogs. So just like regular impurity, you just do it once and it will be sufficient. Is washing machine good enough to clean najas? Or do you have to clean it before you put in the washing machine? So the scholar said that, the number of cycles in the washing machine, it is good enough. It will clean away the impurity, unless you see very apparent impurity in there. It's just good enough. You don't have to do extra work to clean impurities from the clothing. It should be enough. So, and also remember that impurities get transferred only if it is in a liquid form. There is an, if there is a urine here on the carpet, I know like maybe a boy did the urine like maybe a week ago, and the marks are still there, stains are still there. Can I pray at that point? And what if I step on it? Do I have to go down and clean my feet? So the scholar said that impurity gets transferred if it is liquid. So if you touch it, it's not gonna, your leg is not gonna become impure. Of course you want to clean it, but if somebody steps on it, he doesn't have to wash it, it's okay. But maybe if you have like a lot of water on your hand, maybe a lot of sweat, and then you touch it, then it will get transferred. That's a problem. But otherwise, you're sitting on a sofa or anything that has urine, it doesn't, your clothes doesn't become impure. Najas in a well. I don't think anybody has a well in their home these days. But people used to discuss this issue as well. If, like back home, if you have a well, and what happens if maybe a chicken falls onto the well? What do you do? Is it okay?
Yeah. Just take it out.
Does chicken have blood in it? Chicken has blood inside it, right? So the scholar said that if something doesn't have blood, we don't have to worry. But if it has blood, we have to take some buckets of water out until we know that it is clean. Then it is okay. So for they just mentioned some guidelines. They said for rat and sparrow or things like that, throw away like 30 buckets, and for dogs, you have to like empty the whole well. Okay, you have, or maybe like 300 buckets. That should be good enough. But if the animal is disintegrated completely, like into pieces, and then it's better you empty the entire well.